Hello, everyone. Today, I would love to share some of the challenges that I always face as a believer, as a daughter of God, daughter of Christ, as a Christian. So, very brutally honest speaking, I've never felt that I always have this feeling that I've never felt that I belong anywhere. So, if you have followed my journey throughout the whole years and years, you know that I shared this before, but I asked God, where do I belong? I always feel I don't belong to anywhere, any organization, anyone. And you know deep down that yeah, not to really separate yourself from other organization, but the deep down you feel that yeah, it's it's really hard to put it into word, but you have that deep down intuition and feeling that you don't belong anywhere. And I asked this question, and what I heard on that very moment, it was the running around the area, and it was that quiet time with God time, and God whispered in my eye. He said, "You belong the kingdom of heaven." And I remember that vivid moment. And as we are chosen and as we are called and chosen, obviously we don't walk the same path like the non-believers. I'm not here to separate believers and unbelievers, but what I'm trying to say here is because we have the specific calling and purpose in our life, we don't just chase and follow that what the world pursues good. For example, social status, title, or the big fancy anything worldly thing that worldly point of view would cherish. And I'm not saying that's bad, that's great, because everything that it got created is good and was good. And when they become our idol, that comes down to a problem. So you understand where it's coming from. I'm not putting them as evil, but when they become our idol and pursue those things ahead of God, that becomes problematic. So back to the story. So because of that reason, because we are marked, this is the exact word that I was looking for, because we are marked by God, not by the world, but by God. We always feel that we are not really feeling that sense of belonging on this earth because we are not part of the world, and we're called to fulfill and do what we're supposed to do on this earth. And for example, be that light into this world. And we don't belong to the world, of the world. We are not part of the world, but toward the world, through us, we shine the light, we share the love, and we lead by example how Jesus led us, right? So, because of the reason, so one of the biggest thing that I felt that, especially after I came to Canada, which is 8 years ago, obviously, yes, different culture. Obviously, yes, because I don't have any group of friends from university, high school, or any of the younger, yeah, ages that bond the relationship right away. So because of the reasons, yes, I do get that, but still, you have the sense of feeling that you're not part of this earth kind of feeling. And and later I realized, yeah, because we are marked by God, we're called to do something different. What I mean by that is something bold, whether the the worldly people like it or not. We're not here to be liked by anybody else, but we're called to fulfill his vision and mission. So whether they like it or not, if it's part of God's will, it's our mission to fulfill that, right? So part of the reason why is because of that. And that is number one. So really hard to feel that you are part of any group. Obviously, yes, when you're having the fellowship with the group of church buddies, yes, it's good that we can share those deeper messages and share those insights and knowledges. Yes, that's great. But mostly something is missed when I mingle with the any events, when I mingle with any of the big group. Deep down, something is missed. That I think is something to do with spiritual connection. So, sense of belonging, I think that is number one. And I still love all of people, all of my neighbors. Um, yeah, I'm not saying that I don't like you because we're called to love neighbors. Yes. So that is number one. Number two is we don't necessarily do what the worldly people necessarily do. And we don't choose the gate that is wide open, but we choose the narrow gate. What they mean the narrow gate is we don't necessarily do that is called easy. The worldly people may chose those easier path with higher salary, but we don't necessarily choose that path because it's wide open gate. And obviously, worldly point of view, less work and higher salary means better or comfortable path that guarantees stability in your life. Obviously, from the worldly point of view, that is so great. But as believer, as chosen by God, your path may not guarantee that stability in your life or safe net in your life. When God tells you to move out of the country, when God tells you to ditch that comfortable, safe job, that's God's order. So, as sons and daughters of God, obviously we need to obey promptly without hesitation and without delay, because otherwise that becomes also delayed obedience, is also disobedience, right? So our path is not necessarily guarantee anything comfortable or anything fancy, but rather later of my life I realized the path, the narrow gate really means it actually includes lots of challenges and lots of resilience and resistance from opponents and enemy. What I mean by opponents and enemy is that is against God's will and the people who oppose to that God's plan and purpose because they want to pursue comfort. They want to pursue what is easier and better for them from their eyes, not from godly point of view. So there will be a lot of oppositions. There will be a lot of resistance because when there's change and when there's big God plans need to be implemented, obviously, yes, people will say no, or people may persecute you or even dislike you and say bad rumor about you and really damage your reputation. But that narrow path, actually narrow gate, that is what we're called to do and what we're supposed to step into. So it is really naturally expected to have that opponents and enemy and who really damage your reputation. But God knows who is doing that. And it is written I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. So God's got your back. So that is number two. Narrow gate is the path that we're supposed to step into, and it doesn't necessarily guarantee any fancy prosperity, comfortable path, but rather it requires more of your patience and resilience and perseverance, not giving up, and being the resilience children of God, army of God, and warrior of God. And why? To fulfill his purpose and mission. And yeah, so unlike the worldly point of view, which is comfortable, which is really pursuing those external thing that may benefit you, it doesn't really guarantee the path. So that is number two. So I'm not a prosperity Christian because I've learned through the wilderness journey for several years. My 20s, obviously, yes, it's been very prosperous. I've traveled, I was so lucky enough to travel 30 countries. And that was, I know for sure, 100%. It's thanks to God, all the funds and all the timing and everything that was aligned with his approval, his grant, and he is granting those paths to me because I've been praying for so long. And also in my 20s, every door was an open door. Like I was able to really quickly get another job, move on, learn new skill, new industry. It was very smooth sailing. Even the work job opportunity in Dubai when I didn't really know anybody else, but I applied and applied and yeah. And there's a so this comes down to seasons of life. 20s all fancy, all prosperous, everything up to mid 30s. It was very open door. Everything was very smooth. Obviously, yes, there are a lot of people who were jealous and who felt threatened by me or did wrongdoings behind my back and really, you know, um, really, yeah, there were always people along the way, vicious people along the way, but I moved on because I know that God knows who did what. But it's at the end of the day, it's God's vengeance, not mine. So I moved on, moved on, moved on. It was all like open door, open door, open door until COVID hit and until that God really put me through the wilderness journey and that refinery process and removing all the impurities, all the worldly thing that I really pursued. And part of it was also, oh, I've had this years of experience, so I deserve this title or I deserve this salary. And to be honest, my salary level compared to 8 years ago, there's not much of a difference because of tax difference and also because of the Canadian working culture that the Canadian working experiences require, like that type of culture, which is not very conservative and very not open from the immigrant point of view. Like I don't want to classify myself as immigrant or classify myself as I'm from this country or I'm expat or something like that. But that was the reality that I needed to face and really needed to go through. I'm not here to condemn anybody else, but that was the reality that I needed to face. So I don't mind starting from zero. So I did. And also with additional step, which is the test and which is the temp position, which is really a short-term contract first. Yes, so long story short, so it is what it is. And that also combined with that feeling that the sense of belonging and also a narrow gate and the wilderness journey, the whole journey was the even the very last moment. Last year I also have part-time and had the opportunity to work as a sales in the sales field, event and sales, and God really revealed who I am, and God really revealed who He is as well through my work. And because every time there's great result and exceeding results, God, I glory to God because obviously it's from Him and thanks to the community and everything. And so, long story short, last year, even I had the opportunity for the full-time opportunity, but it didn't work out. So, and then I learned not every opportunity is for you, and not every opportunity is from God because, and also the opportunity, yeah. So I also shared this story before. How do you know whether it's the opportunity from God or not, whether there's transcending peace or not? Even though there's lots going on, there may be challenges along the way. But do you feel deep down peaceful, and do you feel that that there's a purpose and there's greater mission in that role, regardless of those, title. Oh, title. Anyway, so and yeah, when he removed the last step of my impurity, that was my title. Because yeah, I have this years of experience, and people have this title because of this many experience, and I do have the same experience, and why it's not equally treated, why it's not really fairly treated, right? And that last piece, you know what, God, I don't need the title. I don't need it. He actually taught me the full obedience, no matter what I think it's right and fair. He taught me full obedience. And the last test that he allowed was, can you even transcend this? Even though you logically speaking, you think that that is fair and that is right. And yeah, so so that was it. So number three is transcend transcending everything. Transcending everything. I have a journal that I wrote down. A lot of people say manifestation. A lot of people say write down what you want and what you wish. What I realized from the believer's point of view, not necessarily, because even though you plan your thing, the steps that will lead you and your path is God. And I don't know why my path has been so brutally challenging, and why I needed to face so many difficult people who I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't say any single bad word against other people, but I always needed to face a lot of jealousy people who really behind my back, backstab me, or who try to get rid of me or anything. But when my mission and my intention is just fully really honoring God and do what is right according to his word. And I think, you know what? I think all has been part of character building process. And when I face people now, I can dare to say, I don't necessarily follow you or look up to you because of your title. I don't care because I've already transcended all of those external status, right? The reason why I look up to someone is because of their character, because of their character. I wouldn't dare to say that unless I needed to go through the fiery refinery, a really painful process. So now I needed to go through all of those journeys through the wilderness, which I'm really thankful for. And now I can dare to say that, yeah, I've transcended it all and remove all of those expectation. God, I needed to reach this status by this time. and and then I truly deeply and sincerely know what that means, that even though you plan the steps that guide you, or the steps that the path that guide you toward is God, not me. I may plan and I may act upon it to achieve that and to fulfill that, but the end result, that the very person who can really make it happen or to make it grow, is only God. So yeah. So those are, I think, number three things that I feel so challenged. And those are the three challenges that I feel that I'm facing wherever I go. And I hope this episode is somewhat giving you insights, helpful. And thank you so much for taking your time to connect with me today virtually and connect with you. And I don't know who is watching or I don't know who is listening to this podcast, but I'm doing it just for you. I don't know who you are. If I did care about the number, I wouldn't have really sustained this journey so far, right? So thank you so much. And we'll connect probably next week sometime, if possible this week. And enjoy the rest of your day. And God bless you. And we love you so much.